I almost forgot to record. Nice tall spine, nice easy seat. You can sit up on a block, on a bolster, whatever feels good. But I want you to bring your focus right away to your skeleton, to your bones. Those structures inside of you that are hard and rigid and supportive. They're made of minerals and they're just so interesting that we as like our people, we're people, we have soft skin, we have soft organs, but we have these really hard bones. They're made of calcium and magnesium, all sorts of minerals that we can find all around us in the sky, in the plants, in the trees, in the mountains. Um, so let's take this moment just to feel really sturdy and really substantial and really supported. We still have a lot of planets in fire signs. We have Venus, North Node, the Sun, Mercury, and Chiron, all in Aries. It's a lot of planets in a fire sign. It's very energizing. It gives us some momentum. It gives us some courage. It gives us the ability to want to strike out and start something. But the moon is in Taurus, which is an earth sign. So our emotional body might feel like the rest of the world is moving a little bit too fast. Just today and tomorrow. And there's nothing wrong with that. But hopefully, by bringing some awareness to it this morning, being intentional, being deliberate with our bodies and our minds and our hearts, we can kind of approach that incongruence and smooth out the edges a little bit. Slowly start to let your head tip from side to side, shoulder to shoulder, bringing awareness into the neck. Notice the spine of your neck if you can, and the muscles of your neck. And it's hard to notice the spine, as I kind of think it is, just imagine how it's moving. If you had little X-ray goggles and you could look at yourself moving, what would your spine look like on an X-ray right now? Add in a little bit of a swivel by drawing your chin down towards your chest in between bobbles from side to side. And then bring your eyes back to neutral, your spine back to neutral. Let's switch our legs so we can bring the opposite leg into the front. And then we're going to sit up nice and tall. Find your skeleton again, shoulders back and down, ears over shoulders. Turn your chin so your chin points to your right knee. And then tuck your chin down towards your chest. We should get just a little bit of a different sensation in our neck here. Try to make your spine as long as you can, again, focusing on that rigidity, that solidness, that structure that is supportive for your head. Our heads are actually pretty heavy compared to our neck, and so many of us walk around with our head forward. This puts a lot of strain on our neck. So let's pay a lot of attention to the integrity of our bones this morning. Bring your gaze, your spine back to neutral, and then look towards your left knee so your chin points in that direction. Tuck your chin under, bringing your chin down towards your collarbone and as much length into your neck and your spine as you possibly can. Bring your spine back up to neutral, your eyes back up to neutral, and then one more neck stretch. Let's clasp our hands down by our tailbone. And then bring your little fist ball over to your right hip, your right side, and just place it there as far as you can around. And then drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. This is just a little bit more intensity through the left side of the neck. So again, bring your bones to mind. Bring your muscles to mind. Use your body as an anchor for your focus. I took my friend Megan's yoga class yesterday, and she started the practice out by saying our practice is like a living prayer. What we do with our body, with our thoughts, with our mind sends ripples forward into our day. So let's just infuse every breath, every posture, every second of this practice with that prayer of intention. And with the moon in an earth sign and so many planets in fire signs, I think it would benefit us to have our intention revolve around integrity, around courage, around deliberate placement, discernment. Let's switch to the other side. So bring your fists over to the left hip, and then bring your left ear down towards your left shoulder. The element earth has a lot to do with practicality. And from practicality, we get lots of little sub-themes and subcategories, but I think discernment is one of my favorite ones right now. Discernment can be a little bit tricky. We can take it to an extreme and nitpick everything, break everything down, analyze everything, analysis paralysis. But it doesn't have to be that way. Let's bring ourselves back to neutral. Release your hands, give your shoulders a little bit of a wiggle. Awesome. And then crawl over your knees. So we're going to come into a tabletop position. Bring hands below your shoulders and then knees below your hips. Take a couple rounds of movement. You can do cats and cows or side to side or some big dramatic barrel rolls with your chest. We'll be here a couple of different times, so you just listen to your body. You'll have more opportunities to move here. So don't feel like you need to pack everything into this one little grouping of moments. Bring your spine back down to neutral, and then pick up your right knee and point it over to the right side of the room. So we're kind of like the dog on a fire hydrant posture. And just hold it steady. Squeeze your glutes into your pelvis. Flex that right foot so your toes are peeling back towards your knee and your shin. And pull in through your belly button. Make some heat in your body without moving a muscle or just activating muscles. Firing up muscles, asking our muscles to engage and be strong. And let's take some tiny, tiny little pulses with that right knee, up and down, really small. As you're moving, continue to pull in through your belly button. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. Hold steady. One of the qualities I think of when there's a lot of fire and some earth is burning in place. Oh my goodness, I can see it when people are doing it, burning in place. They have so much energy. They want to step forward, but for some reason they are holding themselves right in the same place. I know some people at Juicylation actually that have a lot of fire and earth, and I'd always say, man, you're burning in place. Do something. Let's take some more pulses here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your right leg back to the wall behind you. Stretch it out long. And then cross your toes over to the left side of your mat. Look around your left shoulder for your heel. Bring lots of length into that big, long right side body. Let's take the right leg back to the wall behind you. Leg is long, hip is parallel with your heel. And then let's step this foot up between your hands. Step it up. We're going to tuck the back toes under and lift up into a high lunge shape. Kind of like crescent lunge, but our chest is forward. Let's step that back leg to meet our front leg, all 10 toes at the top of the mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Extended mountain pose. Stand up tall, fill up your lungs, big stretch. Exhale, bow your way forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. 2 more. Inhale, stand up, reach up, fill your lungs up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Extended mountain. Press your feet down. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Then high plank, take your feet to the back of your mat. Hold this plank steady. We're going to stay right here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On or off your knees, lower your body down to the mat. We're going to take 3 cobras with our breath. Inhale, chest up. Exhale, release your chest down. Inhale, cobra, lift up. Exhale, release to the floor. One more time, inhale, cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Take your hips back to your heels. Bring your forehead down to the floor. And rest for a moment. Take a couple back and forth rocks with your forehead down into the mat. Come back to your intention, to your prayer for this practice. And just imagine that prayer rippling into every breath you take. Every pose that we get into is a result of this prayer. Feel the power in that for a moment. Take another breath in. Take a breath out. And then move your body back to your tabletop position. Find some more of those movements that we talked about. Your side to side C curves with the spine, your cats and cows, barrel rolls with the chest. You choose. And bring your spine back down to neutral. We're going to scoop our left knee up to the left side, pointed over towards the left wall. Find action throughout your body. Flex those lifted toes. Squeeze your glutes into your pelvis. Pull up with your belly button. Do your best to make sure your shoulders are square. We're only on 3 wheels when we have 4, so we're a little bit off kilter right now. But make sure you have integrity in your skeletal system. Hold this leg steady, re-strengthen your glutes, burn up that fire. Let's burn in place right here. Take some little tiny controlled pulses up and down. Again, activating through your core, integrity through your chest and shoulders. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold that leg steady, steady, steady. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your belly button in towards your organs. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your left leg back to the wall behind you, and then cross your toes over to the right side of your mat. Look around your right shoulder for your heel. Take our left leg back to the wall behind you. Long leg, long line from hip to heel. And then step your left foot up between your hands. Lift up off your back knee and step that right foot forward so all of your toes are lined up at the top of the mat. Take a halfway lift with an inhale. Forward fold with an exhale. Extended mountain pose, root to rise. Big breath in. Big breath out, forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Extended mountain pose, come up tall. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Extended mountain, stand up, reach as high as you can, and then forward fold. Halfway lift. High plank, walk your feet back. Now you can stay in your plank pose, just regular plank, or you can do 10 shoulder taps, opposite hand to opposite shoulder. Either way, we're gonna stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. On or off your knees, lower your body down to the ground for 3 cobras. We inhale to press into cobra, and then we exhale to lower to the mat. 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale, cobra. And this exhale moves you to child's pose again. Sink back into your heels, into your hips. Feel your forehead resting on the floor. Take a little bit, just a couple rocks, pressing your forehead down into the ground. I want you to think about what it feels like to burn in place. How it feels when you have energy to move, you have inspiration to step forward, you have motivation that is chomping at the bit, but there's something that is making you stay in place. There's a roadblock, there's an obstacle, there's something that's preventing you from taking a step forward. How do you respond when you're in that position? And can you respond more like when we're in a yoga pose, holding a posture, hitting that fire in our glutes and our hips and our thighs? It's kind of a similar feeling, is it not? It's just yoga we usually sign up for. And the life burning in place, we're not interested. Didn't ask for that. Let's come back up to our tabletop position. One more time here, one more set of random movements that feel really good to your body. And then back to center. Let's tuck the toes, find a downward facing dog. Take your hips up and back, pedal out your heels one side at a time. Let that feel really good. Let it feel juicy and yummy, and like you're giving your muscles some length. So maybe some of the pressure on your bones can be lessened. All right. Let's press down into both heels. And then step your feet forward towards your hands. Connect your big toes together and leave a little bit of space between your heels, like the skinniest pizza pie slice in the world. We're going to take a halfway lift, a forward fold, and then Utkatasana. Bend your knees and sit down low into your seat. Extend your arms up over your head. And I want you to imagine like you've got a block between your hands. Like that, the long way of the block. Let's bring our arms right out in front of us. So they're right in front of our faces. We're reaching forward and pretend that that block is there. So pretend like you're squeezing it. Engage your arm muscles, press together, press together, press together, and then kind of relax them. We're gonna keep our arms forward, but just take the fire out of the posture. Now, with your arms still forward, let's squeeze on that imaginary block again. Squeeze, 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 press, 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 and then relax. One more time, squeeze on that imaginary block, press, 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 active arms, and soften. Now take your arms up overhead. So your biceps are by your ears. We're gonna do that same thing 3 times. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that imaginary block, hug, 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 and soften. Squeeze, engage your arms, strong core, squeeze, squeeze, and then relax. One more time. Squeeze, 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 and then relax. Very good. Let's lower the hips all the way down to the ground. So we come down to our seat. We're gonna bring our backside to the floor. So bring your spine down to the ground. Take your legs up to the ceiling. And then your hands down by your hips. So let's see. On your exhale, lift your shoulders up off the ground, your nose up towards your knees. On your inhale, bring your head down and your legs to a hover. Exhale, lift your legs, lift your head. Inhale, your legs out long, head to a hover. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, lower. Let's do 5 more. Lower. Crunch it together. Lower. 3 to go. Lift it up. Drop it down. Up. And down. Last one. Lift it up. Bring it down. And then pull your knees towards your chest. Put your hands on your knees. Take a couple of rocks. A little bit of movement. Awesome. Work your legs, your spine back to neutral. Cross your legs at your ankles. We're gonna rock and roll 3 times. And on that last one, we're gonna come back into our Utkatasana. So take a couple of up and downs, couple of rocks. Last one. Plant your feet and lift your seat up off the ground. Utkatasana. Woohoo! Very good. All right, bring your hands together at your heart. Bring your chest forward, cross your left arm over to your right leg, and then press your palms together. Let's bring our spine back to center. We're gonna go to the other side, right elbow, left leg. Press into your palms. Notice if you're burning in place or not. And bring integrity back through your body. Become aware of where everything is and make any adjustments that need to be made. Let's come back to center and then fold forward. Walk your feet apart and then grab onto your elbows. We'll find a little ragdoll right here. You can bounce a little bit, you can sway. Release your hands down to the ground. Walk your feet in together. And let's step our left foot back for a warrior one. So we'll send our back foot to the back of the mat. Front toes point to 12 o'clock, pointing forward, and then hands go to the ceiling. Let's sit strong in this warrior, inviting the opportunity to burn in place onto our yoga mat. Another big reason that I want to talk about this whole burning in place thing is there's a configuration in the sky today between Mars and Saturn. In traditional astrology, those are the two malefic planets. Those are the two planets that are difficult to work with. I don't like to think of them that way, but lots of cultures over time have. Let's take this warrior into a warrior two. Arms forward and back. Front knee moving out towards the pinky side of the foot. When Mars and Saturn are together, it can give us a fighting spirit with endurance, which really feeds into that whole burning in place thing. We have a drive. There are two people that were born with that. Well, there's a lot of people. There's two different kinds of people I want to highlight that have this energy of the warrior mixed with like the father, the rule maker, the headmaster, and the principal. Let's reverse this warrior and then cartwheel your hands down to the mat. We'll step our back foot forward. Take a halfway lift with an inhale. A forward fold with an exhale. Then step your right foot back. We'll find our warrior one on the opposite side. Again, bringing an opportunity into burn in place on purpose. So the first person I'm going to talk about that was born with Mars conjunct Saturn is Genghis Khan. I don't know very much about him. I know he was militant and he killed 40 million people. 40 million people. That's a fighting spirit right there. That takes endurance. That takes a lot of effort, I would imagine. I don't think they had like nuclear weapons. I don't think it was a matter of just dropping a bomb and running away. I think they had to go combat, murder all these people. That's Mars conjunct Saturn. That's an unending pursuit of your desires that you just don't stop. Another person with this energy is Dolly Parton. So this energy comes out in lots of ways. Dolly Parton is still producing things. She's still making stuff. She's still creative. That's creative endurance. That's endurance with her spirit to keep going. Let's open up into warrior two. So even though I don't remember both of your charts perfectly, but I don't think any of us have that energy, that Mars and Saturn. But today we do. We're met with it a little bit. It's like in the air around us. We breathe it in, it intermixes with our own system, and we get to decide how we use that energy. Are you going to be like Genghis Khan and take down a whole civilization? Or are you going to be like Dolly Parton and just keep trying, keep going? Let's reverse this warrior, up and back, big reach, and cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step your back foot forward. Take a halfway lift with an inhale, a forward fold with an exhale, and then stand up tall. Breathe in, reach up for the ceiling. Exhale your arms down by your sides. Let's find a tree pose, perfect for an earth moon. We're gonna balance on our right foot first. So feel those four corners of your right foot pressing into the mat. Lift up your left foot. We can do calf, kickstand, or thigh. Just make sure you avoid your knee. We don't want to bend our knee sideways. It's not structural integrity for our body at all. And so be deliberate. Again, coming back to that theme. Press your palms together at your heart or open them into a T, reach up to the ceiling, whatever feels most appropriate for you. But do your best to be sturdy and steady and recognize sometimes we have to sway a little bit to find the sturdiness. The last Mars conjunct Saturn happens every 2 years. It happened in March of 2020, which is a notable time because we were suddenly unable to go mix up with the world. We had to burn in place. We were forced to. The next one was 2022. There was some weird variant stuff going on, wanting people to burn in place. And now this one is in Pisces, so it's a water sign. So I think we can guess that there will be some holdups with water, some issues with water, some polluted water, some shipping containers that can't travel across the water. Let's switch to the other side. Plant your feet down, left foot plants, right leg comes up into your tree pose. Take your time getting your structure all aligned. I'm wondering if the orcas will stage their revolution during this time of Saturn and Mars in Pisces, when Saturn was active in Pisces in June, and that's when there were all these reports of orcas attacking boats. So maybe this on this day with this conjunction between Mars and Saturn, those orcas are finally going to have their uprising. Maybe that's why shipping will be impaired. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's a good reminder to think about how and when we react if we are feeling like we're burning in place, if we're feeling like we have energy to move, but for some reason we can't. What does that bother the most in your body? Is that a physical, you clench, your shoulders are tight, your teeth are tight, your forehead is furrowed? Or is it mental? Does your mind start spinning and spiraling and like, oh my gosh, we could do this and this and this and this, but you can't move, so it doesn't matter? Just think about it. Where does that energy show up for you? It's probably different for all of us. Let's plant our feet down on the ground. Take an inhale, stretch up to the ceiling, and then exhale, forward fold. Take a halfway lift with an inhale. And then step back to your plank pose. Find your way down to the ground. On or off your knees. And then, let's see. Let's take a locust pose. So we'll reach our hands forward. On an inhale, lift your arms and legs up off of the ground, like you're making a bowl. Extend, extend, extend. And then release your body down. Right cheek comes down to the ground. You can bend your knees, take a couple movements if that feels really good. Straighten out your legs, bring your gaze back to neutral. And we're gonna go again. Let's reach our hands forward with an inhale, lift up locust pose, chest high, legs high, everything active, burn in place a little bit, invite it right onto your mat. And then release your way down. Bring your left cheek down to the mat, your legs, let everything soften. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. If it feels good to move, find a way to move. Don't wiggle your heels side to side, bend your knees. Bring your chin back to center. Bring your hands back beside your chest. And let's press up for a cobra, just one cobra this time. Tuck your elbows back beside your body. And then come back to a tabletop, lifting your hips over your your knees. And let's see, let's take the right leg back to the back wall. Again, it's nice and long from hip to heel. And then we'll pull the right leg forward for a half pigeon. So we'll pull our right knee towards our right hand. The right foot goes over to the left side of the mat. And then very slowly just start to work your way forward, softening into your hips, your low back. Everything soften down towards the ground. Well, I think I love to look at things in terms of perks and pitfalls because I think that's the only fair way, the only fair way to look at anything because it's possible to do things too much. It's very easy to do things too much. So having the quality of having a fighting spirit, we can take that to Genghis Khan level extremes, or we can take it to Dolly Parton level extremes. And I actually read something, I don't know if it was true, so take it with a grain of salt. But Dolly Parton's creativity and her pursuit and her drive to keep trying and going forward made her husband really uncomfortable. And her like activity levels kind of interfered with their marriage a little bit. So even though she has this amazing capacity to endure and keep trying and just move forward, that still like created some bumpy paths in her road, in her personal road. So we can't label these qualities as simply good or simply bad because there are times where they can take us out. There are times where having a fighting spirit can be really detrimental. And there can be times where it's the essential piece in the puzzle that we need. So get really curious about yourself today and this week and some of these themes, burning in place, having a fighting spirit, wanting to take a step forward, being deliberate, having discernment. Let's lift our chest up, our spine up, slowly start to get yourself up and out of this hip stretching position. And very slowly, we'll take our leg back. So we're back in our tabletop. Let's actually take it over to the right side. So our right foot makes a line with our left knee and just slide your hips backward. Oh, that feels good on my bike riding pelvis. You don't have to bring your hips all the way to your heels, but just enough so you start to get sensation in your inner leg, your inner thigh. Let's shift our way back forward, knees under hips, and then extend your left leg long to the wall behind you. We're gonna pull that left leg forward into a half pigeon. On this opposite side, take your time getting your bones all set up in the most structural way. I have a really tough time saying that word. But slowly just start to make your way forward. Slowly start to release. Coming down into the posture, letting all of the tendons, ligaments, muscles around your pelvis relax, release, soften. Saturn, the planet, it represents responsibility and how when we're pursuing something, a lot of times we have to say no to other things. We have to limit other things in so we can direct all of our energy towards that thing that we're pursuing. We do this in different times of life for different reasons. Like I always think of moms, and how when your children are young, that is the season for you to be a mom. That's the season for you to say no to whatever you need to say no to so you can be there for your kids. And I'm sure that changes as the kids grow up and everything. Um, but yeah, different seasons call for different things, and different goals and different pursuits call for different things. Mars is our motivation. It's what gets us out of bed in the morning. It's what makes us feel assertive and protective and frustrated sometimes. It gives us that energy to try. So to have the very limiting, responsible, restrictive planet sitting with the planet that wants you to fight for what you believe in, wants you to take a step forward in the direction that you want to go in, there's just a lot of that burning in place kind of energy, that kind of potential. When Mars and Saturn were in Aquarius in 2020, Aquarius is an air sign, even though it sounds like it's a water sign. And it was particles in the air, allegedly, that restricted our movement. I'm so curious to see how the world reflects this energy back now that it's in Pisces. Now that we've got different themes being touched and activated upon. Let's slowly start to come up out of this posture and move to take your left leg out to the left side in line with your right knee. Very slowly press back into your hips, bringing sensation into this inner part of your left leg. And move your way forward. Bring your knees back under your hips and bring your spine down to the ground. We're going to take a seat, hips to the floor, spine to the mat. Reach your fingertips towards your heels. And then press your heels down into the ground. Let's lift our hips up for a bridge pose. You can interlace your hands under your spine if you'd like to, and wiggle your arms under your body, or you can let them just stay where they are on the mat, fingertips pointing to heels. Slow and steady, bring your hips back down to the ground, and then bring your knees towards your chest. Let's connect the bottoms of our feet together for a cobbler pose. Let your spine be as long as you can. So sometimes if we bring our chin, most times if we bring our chin a little bit closer towards our chest without lifting our head up off the ground, we'll feel just a little bit more length through our upper spine. Wherever Saturn is in the sky for everybody, like where it is today, gives us clues about the kind of roadblocks that we might experience during this window in time. with it being in Pisces. Brings up the theme water. And I can just think of so many water headlines that I've seen over the past year. We had the Orca Revolution. We had the billionaires trapped in the submarine. We had the bridge collapse and all the shipping containers falling into the sea, probably diluting or polluting the water with all the toxic chemicals that were in them. There were reports of people calling, like 500 people calling the Coast Guard because they had a boat capsize, and the Coast Guard was like, ah, you'll be fine. They did not help. And they should have. So it'll be really interesting. I think we can take that personally to apply to ourselves, that we have a responsibility to sort out our emotions, our emotional boundaries that we keep with people. Let's shift this posture into a happy baby. So we'll bring our feet up towards the ceiling, hands to feet. You can find movement here, or you can rock from side to side. I think we have a personal responsibility to sort out our own emotions and emotional boundaries, because emotions are very important. They give us clues about if we're existing in alignment with ourselves, if we're adhering to our values. A lot of times when we get frustrated, it's just a matter of, I don't agree with that, you know? If we don't have this stuff sorted out for ourselves, then we're more likely to just do whatever people tell us to do. And I don't think that that's ever a good thing. I guess within certain relationships, but maybe not even all the time then. Let's bring ourselves, our spines back to neutral. Take your feet up to the ceiling. You can hold on to the backs of your legs, or you can bring yourself to a wall or to the couch and do a little bit of legs up the wall. You just do what feels good for your body. But try to let yourself rest for a moment. We've been practicing burning in place. And now I just want you to find complete softness and restoration. I want you to let your bones become heavy. Bring your knees down towards your chest. Cross your legs, or open your arms out into a T, and then cross your legs. Let's take the right leg over the left leg, and then set your legs down to the left. Turn your eyes over to the right. And just imagine wringing out a dirty kitchen towel and all that extra gunky water going down the drain, washing away. And I want you to imagine right here, right now, that God is wringing you out, or the universe is wringing you out, however you prefer to think about that. And just ask God, universe, creator, that they get all the gunk out. Rinse it out, please. Take away what is needed so I can be the best version of me today. I can be the best version of me for the world, for myself, for everybody that I interact with. And maybe by me being the best version of myself, I can inspire one other person. And that is how we start an epidemic of kind people, of considerate people, conscientious people. Recognize that people you engage with today, tomorrow, this week might feel like they're burning in place. They might feel uncomfortable and they might behave in such a way that really reflects that if you take the time to observe them and witness them from a very non-personal level. Let's move to the other side. Bring your legs back to neutral. Take your left leg over the right leg, knees fall to the floor on the right. And then we twist looking to the left. Again, bring that image of wringing out the dirty cloth. Ask God, Creator, Universe to have another go. Let's re-floss this out. Let's wring it out. Everything leaves me that I don't need. Everything leaves me that is going to prevent me from being who I need to be today. And slowly but surely find your way back to a neutral spine. Unwind your legs. Take your legs out long. Work your way. We're going to move into our final resting pose. So any shape you feel like your body's calling for, any extra stretches or twists or movements that you need, listen to that. That's important information, not to be disregarded. Settle your way down into your body, onto your mat. And then bring to mind those two characters, Genghis Khan and Dolly Parton. And if you could put on your X-ray goggles that we used to observe our cervical spine at the start of practice, you put on those X-ray goggles and look into Dolly's soul. What does her fighting spirit look like? What does her driving force look like? Can you see the perks and the pitfalls? Can you feel the joy that that's brought and also the sorrow that that's brought? And have respect for both sides. I don't think that we get to just exist on one side of the spectrum. Then I ask Dolly's soul to give you some wisdom today. Share what it's learned. Maybe help you to exist in that expression of Mars-Saturn energy. And then turn those X-ray goggles on yourself. What does your fighting spirit look like? What buttons do you have that others can push that initiate that fighting spirit? Is it the strong mama bear instinct? Is it a drive for fairness and justice? Take a breath in, take a breath out. Start to wiggle a little bit, your fingers, your toes. Stretch your arms over your head. Take a big breath, big stretch, big wiggle. And then begin to find your way up to a seated position. Stack up your bones, find your structure, integrity in your body, ears over shoulders. Bring your hands together at your heart center and just come back to that prayer, your living prayer that your practice represented, your intention, fighting spirit, burning in place, awareness, discernment. With all my love and all my gratitude, namaste.